All right, what's up with that 180 days? Is perpetual tourism over? We're going to do a freaking deep dive. You will not see this kind of video we're about to do anywhere else. Everything's going to be in this. Theories, hypotheses, facts, all of it, Johnny. And the reason is because you're here to give some balance. Anyway, guys, we're going to be getting into it in a minute. Guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. If you haven't subscribed, please do. YouTube's hard. I appreciate it. If you want to see videos as I put them up, hit the notification bell. If you want to show some love for this kind of video, man, nobody's doing it for you like this. You can show some love, buy me a coffee. It's a link in the description. It's just a fun way to donate. And I got the big cup. Johnny doesn't drink coffee, so he's got his milk.
A little bit of water.
Oh, I thought that was milk.
It's water.
Sorry, I thought it was milk. Anyway, the link's in the description. Guys, our relocation retreat's coming in early May. We got a couple slots left. Actually, we don't have a couple slots left. We're just going to ask the hotel to release some more rooms. So if Costa Rica's on your radar, you think you might want to live here, but you're not quite sure, this 6-7 day event might be for you. Great information. The contacts alone are worth the price of admission. We have a great time. It's like the most fun I have, like the 2-3 times we do it a year. It's great. I love meeting you guys, man, hanging out by the pool. Anyway, all that information is in the link in the description. It's not too late. You can come. And I'd love to see you there. And Johnny, you're there.
I'm there.
You're there.
I do the health.
All right. First of all, I like to act like you never saw one of my videos before. So this is Johnny. He's our medical dental guy. He's the one that does your stem cells and breast augmentation and fixes your grill and gets your implants and walks you from your plane to the dentist and does all that. And if you want to get a hold of Johnny, you can fill out the form on my website, TravelCostaRicaNow.com. Just scroll down a little bit. You'll probably see his face somewhere
there. It's there.
And then they hit it, you get a form, and you can do whatever get your breasts bigger, whatever it is you want to do. All right. This is going to be interesting, but I got to lay the groundwork. Before we get to Johnny, which might take a minute, I got to tell you a couple things. So you guys, if you don't know anything, I'm going to try to keep you up to speed. All right. There's something here called perpetual tourism. That's where somebody actually lives in Costa Rica, but they're not they're not a resident. What they do is it used to be every 3 months, every 90 days, like at the 89 or in the 80s, you had to leave, let's say to Nicaragua, get stamped out of Costa Rica, come back even the same day, get stamped back in, and get a new 90 days. All right? Now, I don't know, 2 years ago, a year and a half, when was it? About 2 years ago, they said, you know what? Forget 90. We're going to let you stay in here 180 days. I made some videos about it. We're going to talk about some of the stuff the reason I think they made the 180, but that's coming up. But anyway, so what ends up happening is there's a lot of people that live here that never go through the residency process. Me, I was a perpetual tourism for, I think, 14 years before I ended up getting my residency. I have friends that are on their 20, 25 years of doing this perpetual tourism, and they're loving it now because it's 180 days. Man.
Hey,
before when it was 90, it was like, and yet, just to be clear, it was always at the border officer's discretion. You may think, oh, I'm going to get my 90, I'm going to get my 90, I'm going to get my 90, I'm going to get my 180, I'm going to get my. They don't have to give you 180. It's at their discretion. It's not really a law necessarily. It's like, now they're giving 180 like, hotcakes. But if they wanted to, they could say 4, or whatever. And they could do that back when it was 92. I knew friends that would be rude with them and they'd give them like 15 days, stuff like that. So that's what a perpetual tourist is here. And trust me when I say there's a lot of them here now. But now here's the problem. Costa Rica, the locals, the ticos, the people that live here are not digging this gringo influx of people.
Gentrification.
We're going to get to gentrification. That's going to be part of this. But all right, I'm going to hand it over to Johnny. So you kind of explain where we're at right now with what the government is looking at. What are some of the kind of the issues that maybe some of the ticos locals brought up to the government, and then we'll go from there. But I guarantee this is gonna. Well, I don't know. We might get in a little
We'll see who wins, huh?
Chico versus Gringo. Who's your money on? Not me, man. I get hit once, I'm out. But anyway, go ahead.
All right. So the perpetual tourist, that came about and has been working for so many years, right, Mike?
Right.
But they found that a lot of times some people were taking advantage, some people were not leaving in the time period. So I think that's the frustration a lot. And then also, I hear a lot about the gentrification that's happening.
Well, wait a minute. Let's back up a little bit. So, what's happening right now? What's the government looking at? Is it exactly the 180, or are there other issues involved in 180? Because we're going to get to what you were just saying. So what's the government actually looking at right now?
We have to separate the two. There's the government and there's the legislative branch. The legislative branch.
That seems like isn't the legislative branch the government?
No. We're talking about the local government, which is the executive branch, and the legislative branch. The legislative branch is actually introducing a bill to control the perpetual tourist. It hasn't passed. It's still in process.
To control the 180.
Right. To control.
Now, what are some of their proposals on the 180?
They're looking at it as to one, to push people to get residency, to actually leave here legally, like a lot of other countries have.
So what they're trying to stop is back and forth.
Correct.
So are we sure we can't really define what they're actually like? Are they going, let's go back to 90 days? We're going to make it illegal for you to go back and forth. You have to stay out of the country for, let's say, 30 days until you come back. You know that because a lot of countries do things like that where you can come back, but not for another X amount of days.
Right now, like you said before, it's at the discretion of the immigration officer how many days they can, because they can actually technically look at your ticket, when are you supposed to go back, and give it to you for that day.
Yeah, I know, but still, I guess what I'm asking is what. So I know they're looking at 180, and to change the 180, but do we know what some of the things they're looking to do to fix the 180, or we don't know that yet?
We don't. I'm actually going to take this question. Just recently got into the president's press corps, and I'm going to ask this very question on what you're asking with the perpetual tourist, on what their stance is if this legislation goes through. They'd have to follow the law, but what their stance is right now. Are they going to veto it? Are they going to support it? What's their stance?
Now, we need to say, and okay, why do you, I know why this came about. Why did the 180 come about?
Because there's a lot in the media here, and a lot in a lot of areas. I'll give you a good example. Santa Teresa. They had recently, a lot of Chicos have even YouTubers that go out. In Santa Teresa, they didn't want to accept colones as a form of payment in the country.
Who?
In Santa Teresa.
You mean gringos?
No, gringos that owned a particular place. They came to go eat. Chico came, a YouTuber, and he was not allowed to pay in colones. He had to pay in dollars on his card.
Okay, that sounds like a problem.
So those are things that, some people are imposing on themselves. You can't come into a country and try to impose these things.
Okay, I got to get you rolling a little bit. Okay. But that's one little thing. They're mad. The gringos are coming in and kind of taking over. You just made an example, but they're buying up land. They're buying up lots. They're coming in their little groups. They're taking advantage of a loophole that's been around. I do want to say this perpetual tourism. My theory on that is the government has let whoever, legislative, local, whatever. I remember 20 years ago, perpetual tourism had been a thing way before I got here. And there was always immigration lawyers telling you need to get your residency because they're looking at that. They're going to stop that. They never did. It always, every few years, it'd be like, oh, you better get your residency. They're starting to crack down on perpetual tourism. And they never did it. And they still didn't do it. And then the surprise was 2 years ago when all of a sudden, what the hell just happened? You just made it easy, 180. Now, why would a body do that? they obviously want the money to come in. They're trying to make it easy, and they're going to be careful what you wish for. So what I think happened is the Ticos are getting a little pissed that it's being taken advantage. It's kind of like, we don't got to get into Biden and all that kind of stuff, but it's kind of like having an open border and just going, come on over.
Well, I think maybe a lot of portion is.
Permiso. Ya quedaron listos. Ya
Good. It works.
Con gusto. Hasta luego.
That's my landlord. He was fixing my screen.
Yeah, that's some good service. He called you. You got it in. Well, I think a lot of the political climate right now, Mike, on both sides, is things are happening over there, and there's ripple effects that are happening here. All right, they're seeing that. I've seen a lot of people. They're seeing, oh, you know what? If you're going to do it to us in this particular fashion, we're going to do it to you also.
Oh, you think it's a government versus government? I think it's the locals pushing the government. The government would have never changed to 180 if they didn't want to make things easy to get you over here. They want the whatever the U.S. are. They want the tourists. I think they're getting pressure from the Ticos that go. They never really, Ticos are very easygoing people, but I think they're seeing the consequences of this ease of just gringos coming and going.
Yeah, but if they want you to come in for the tourist season to bring them this area.
Oh, come on, dude. 180 days. Who fucking goes on vacation for 180 days, dude, and then comes back? They did that to make it easy. That is totally not true. They didn't do that for tourism at all.
No.
Nobody. Matter of fact, when you come in here, you're just on vacation for 2 weeks and you're bringing the family, and all of a sudden you're looking at your passport. Honey, they gave us 180 days. That's not why. They've made shit easier for the perpetual. Costa Rica's known about perpetual tourism for fucking 50 years. Right?
Right.
Okay. So why would they make it easier to be a perpetual tourist?
They want you here.
It's not tourist. No tourist. Now, maybe they saw that their digital nomad residency thing was dumbass. I don't know. You remember that? That was stupid as shit. So maybe
don't venture, bro. Either.
No, I'm saying so. Maybe it is making it easier, but they're definitely made it easier to stay here, and they know about. But it had nothing to do with tourism, dude. Nothing. Now maybe a little bit, a tad, but there's no way they didn't know if you give 180 days to somebody, what was going to happen with that. They can't be that stupid.
No, they're not. Costa Rica's education system. Costa Ricans in general have a great IQ on what they want to do.
So they know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
Okay, so why do they do it?
Well, like anybody, you want to progress and they see an opportunity, they're going to say, okay, you know what, let's come on down, let's do this. But at the same time, you know what, I don't think they realize in a lot of ways what they're really doing to themselves.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly, because you're selling off your ancestry, your everything, and then complain after you sold it to somebody. It's actually kind of stupid.
Okay, let's see. I got a couple things. One thing is they can't change. Okay, let's say the 180. If they just go, let's just back it to 90. Does that really do anything, for one? Because they never did anything when it was 90. Now you can still do the same thing, but you got to do it twice as many times.
So inside the law, this new law, they're changing
That's what I was asking.
Inside this new law, they're changing the amount of the fines inside the law to be higher than what they are now, and more enforceable because now there's a law behind it.
Oh, you mean? Well, they always had fines.
Yes. But now
they can't even collect them on the.
Yes, but a fine is one thing, but enforcing a fine as a law is a different thing.
I think if I'm not mistaken, correct me. I think the fines was for overstaying your 180 or your 90 or whatever the hell it was. It's either $100 a month for each month you stayed over, or like
the law
3 months for every.
The law, the new law.
You either paid or you couldn't come back.
The new law is 3 times that much. It's $300.
Yeah, but there was something about you also couldn't come back. There was like it was like 3 months to every.
There's intricacies of this new law, the way they've written it. It's a whole portion of how they're going to enforce it now.
Okay, is this bullshit again though? So you know what I think it is? They make all kinds of laws here and they don't enforce shit. So what I think they might be doing is, okay, you didn't really say this. The locals here are not happy with all the gringos coming in here and buying up land. So is this just lip service from the government to the locals going, hey, look what we're doing. We have fines. We do have fines. They don't enforce nothing here. They got all kinds of laws. Now, I would like them to enforce it. Don't get me wrong.
Well, Mike, why didn't they enforce them with you back in the day?
Okay, and you bring me to the other issue that they're going to have. If they go too deep into this, I'm sure most of you guys that watch, if you know this, but you don't have to be a resident to own a business here. You don't have to be a resident to buy land here. So what are they going to do with all those people that maybe go back and forth at the whims without being residency, that own businesses and own property? I mean, they could almost, if they go too much the other way, they could fuck themselves even more.
Well, they got a responsibility to the people in this particular. Now,
that's a politician answer.
This is an executive side of the branch that has a responsibility for the people, and the legislative also doing. Now, I can't tell you if it's lip service, one or the other. All I can tell you is that they're making an effort. Now, the locals are pushing it. Of course, they're pushing it, or else it wouldn't even be in the assembly because
the government doesn't care. That's what I said. So, which brings us kind of to I think the point locals are getting mad at is coming down to, hey, I'm getting sick of that gentrification word because it's not all negative. Gentrification is not all negative. Matter of fact, if the government was smart here, they could get a lot out of a gringo purchasing beach property or whatever. They could make them, higher taxes to do schools. They could get all kinds of stuff.
They're being fair. They're being fair for everybody, whether you coming in. Now, the Constitution, the way it's written here in Costa Rica, it's being fair to everybody. It doesn't go by gender, doesn't go by race. Yes, the only part you're going to get screwed on is that if you speak English or you speak some other language, they're going to see you as a Dollar Tree. They're going to charge you more, Mike. That's just
yeah, but I'm just saying they could have, if you're going to like run a business or, they're taking over like beachfront things, there's laws you could put in place, like you have to give back to the community. You have to hire people in the proximity of the community. You have to maybe, I don't know, a higher wage. I don't know. You could make all kinds of little addendums or whatever to benefit locals, because a lot of times, and you know what, I don't even think this isn't really all about gringos. It's about class. Have you been around Ciudad Quesada? Have you been in the hills? There's freaking a million rich ticos here that will freaking buy the beach.
You like that place, huh?
No, I just think it's funny that everybody assumes. I think everybody thinks every tico in all the land has a little house with a tin roof on it. I don't think they know that there's tons of rich people here, tons of rich farmland and people that have millions of dollars. It's not just gringos coming in. Who do you think's selling to gringos? People that have a lot of land, people that have money. So it's not necessarily all gringo-ish. It's almost like if you're don't let the gringo in. Rich people buy up land too. You know what I mean? Like
a lot of land.
Like a tico can go to the beach and buy big land. And I'm going to build a big hotel with our corporation. It's the same thing, basically.
They are gentrification
because rich people don't care about other people anyway. Usually, no, that's not fair. That's not fair.
Well, there's some people that care about them, but what you're saying is this: is that they're buying up things, but they're not putting their gun to their head. You know what? Sell me this piece of land. They're selling it. Just my thought is the mistake is making is that they're selling earth that can't be reproduced again. You can't make a piece of land again. Once it's sold, you're never going to get it for that price again. And they're giving away their motherland or however you want to call it, they're giving away the piece of Costa Rica.
Well, the prices are high. I mean, I just saw an article in the Guanacaste area, all the prices, and they're skyrocketing for land.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that, but that's just not gringos, but that's rich people buying that land, or doing whatever they do. The other thing is they come here and they buy a big swath of land and then lot it up, like
of course, they'll set the lots, but that's, I guess, is it wrong to progress?
No, I'm not. I'm with. Well, you're on my side. No, I'm just kidding.
No. Look, Mike. If a person free willingly is going to sell his property or her property, they're doing that. They're not gentrifying anything. You're selling your property. You're letting it go. Is it a wrong way to go for Ticos? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but when you think of gentrification, you think of like they come into like an area. And, now all the rich people buy up all the... Have you seen those areas they buy? It's freaking poverty.
Yeah.
Okay. So people go, well, we got to... it's almost... I don't know. It's almost virtue signaling. It's like... No, because I've been seeing more negative comments on like my videos of people, gentrification or white people go home or... There is that, and it's like... But they don't... okay, so... If you let somebody just be poor in a big community along the beach, who's that helping? You're not going to stop progress. You are not going to, I don't care what you do, you're not going to stop progress. At some point, they're going to be eaten up by somebody or some corporation, whether it's Tico, Gringo, or whatever. So to me, it'd be better if the government here made laws to help them when people come in, with their big businesses and stuff. And I'm not saying you can't tax them illegally, but I'm saying you got to get back to the communities. A lot of this is going to go back into the community. It's going to go into the schools, hire people from around the area. You can't just come in and bring all your friends from the States. You know what I mean? Like you got to give back. So you got to show, that you're helping the area. You're an attribute to the area. You're just not like pushing them out, but the whole thing is they push them out and they have no place. They're displacing them. What, displacing them from shitty ass? They got tin roofs and sticks. Have a lot of those.
Yeah, but when those shitty.
Seriously, keep talking. I can hear you, and I'm going to get some more coffee.
All right,
keep talking.
So, Mike, you're talking about what we're taking as for granted, the beach, the whole thing, but the laws here in Costa Rica protect that beach. You can't build on the beach 50 meters from the beach. You can't privatize a beach. You have to keep it to the public, and that's protected now. And then now 25% of all land here in Costa Rica is also protected, which is a forest.
They've always been good with that. Like in the States, people think they own the beach all of a sudden,
Yeah.
Well, here now the only thing I've seen here is like there's used to be one of my favorite beaches until it got overridden with people trying to sell shit. Playa Ventanas down in by Esterios Este, around Uvita area, whatever. You did have to pay, but a very minimal to cut through somebody's land to get to the beach. They didn't stop you from the beach, but yeah, you had to pay I think it was like 1,000 colones or something. The guy makes bank. And then what happened, unfortunately, the first time we went there, it was great. And then the last time we were there last year, they, now the whole beach is selling the chicharrones. It's like, what the hell? And it's a beautiful.
It got commercialized, Mike.
Yes,
it got commercialized. Well, they have that in Las Catalinas. Have you ever been in there?
Yeah.
They have a playa called Playa Dantita. But it's like a 30-minute hike through the mountain and come down, but it's a beautiful beach. I think a lot of times once you build the road to get them there, then it goes to hell. Now, what about Mike in your ex hometown? Because now you're in Ciudad Quesada. What about the hot springs that they used to park on the side of the street over there in Fortuna, going down by Tabacon, where the hot springs were free?
Well, I'll be
and then they created a whole new spot.
You know, I tell you, I love La Fortuna, but it's just turned into a. And there's nothing wrong. I mean, obviously, it's tourism, right? It does bring money in, I guess, but it used to be a quaint little town. But I don't want to be that person that goes, I wish it was like it was 20 years ago. Well, nothing's like that anymore.
No.
And if you're going to be like that, I mean, things are going to, I mean, they call it progress. You know, I don't know if I call it progressing necessarily, but what's happening to La Fortuna, it's turned into a tamarindo in the jungle, basically, if you ask me.
Well, all the signs, that's...
Don't get me started.
The signs, come on. You know what? You got these billboards. You take the landscape, that really gets me. The landscape that you hurt with all the people, and come on. It's
well, yeah, but that's I hate that, and I especially hate it because Costa Rica promotes itself as a, you know, that's how they get on the map. We're, you know, organic. We're natural. We are, you know, we give blue flags for beauty of the beaches and picking stuff up. I'm not going to bag on it. I love Costa Rica, but just like any country, it has its problems. But boy, do they know how to market. They know how to market.
They are
they're very smart. But again, the only reason this 180 thing.
So you think the essence of Costa Rica is gone?
Well, in certain places. I mean, that's the other funny thing. You know, people. Again, I've said this a million times. People think like there's 7 places to live in Costa Rica. It cracks me up.
No, there is, Mike.
Yes.
You want to call them out?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
There's Ubita, right? That is a popular.
Well, that's been the big one for the last 5-6 years.
Right, and then Dominical. What about Grecia? It's a good spot too.
Grecia, Atenas.
Right, Atenas.
Playa Coco.
Oh, Escazú too, right?
Escazú.
That's
Escazú City. That's just basic. That's just the United States.
Yeah, but those are the best places here.
You know, people. You know, I mean, don't get me started on all that. I mean, they say they want to be off the beaten path, but they don't. They still want to. You know, they want the exit right there so they can come in and go. But anyway, let's get a little bit back to the 180. I can only go. It's kind of like a kid's behavior. You know, the past is a predictor of the future. Unless they change. Like you look at the past, Costa Rica has never, in my mind, anything that's super serious, they don't enforce. Or if they do enforce, it's extremely random. It's like, you know, you're not supposed to cut down trees, like, you know, like that whole tree.
Of course, yeah.
Now, I've seen that implemented where people got in serious trouble. And then, you know, but other 5 times, you know, it's just you know, it's very.
But Mike, how do you implement these things to your primary market that comes to your country for tourism? How do you implement that onto that group? Because honestly, that's what we're asking for, right? You know what? Let's say, you know what? Don't stay the 60.
Well, I think it's easy. I think the easiest thing to do without getting into the weeds, because that's going to be the problem. There's probably, let's say, 1 million gringos here that live here coming back and forth, that own land, own houses, own businesses. And if they start messing too much, so in other words, like, let's say they have.
So we should adopt the border, that the way the U.S. is doing things.
If you think that's going to be beneficial, but you're not on the run with the United States. The United States can do things you can't do here because they're the biggest. You know, you just can't do it. You can be tough, but that doesn't mean you can't
enforce it.
Right. So I think the easiest one, I don't know. You either got to do some sort of maybe
there's no in between
quicker way to residency,
but there's
or you stop. So you go back to, like, let's say 90 days, and then you gotta.
All these guys are going to be mad at you bringing that back to 90 days.
I don't care. I say what I don't.
They're going to be saying, what?
No, but I'm just
you're
trying to
taking
say.
It away. You're taking it away.
I'm trying to say, as a government, you know, like, technically, if they're going to do this, if it passes, or they're going to. Let's pretend they're going to make changes. They may not. It might get vetoed. The government might say, whatever. But let's say it goes on. I would say probably the easiest thing to do might be to just kind of go, you know, if you're here 90 days, you can't come back in for another 30. Now that screws everything up, right? It can screw up a lot of people with business. That's the problem. That's the thing that Costa Rica is going to run into. And that's why I think this is probably going to, no matter what they do, it's probably going to be more lip service than anything. They give me no indication that there's too many consequences if they make this a big thing. Okay, no more 180. We're going to make it this, we're going to make it that, we're going to do this, you're going to do that. So what if it's fined $300 or $600? Who gives a fuck? I mean, if you live here and you got a business here and you have an issue, you're probably going to pay it or whatever.
You're going to pay it.
It's anyway. Going to be enforced. They didn't even, they had these fines going forever, but the border crossings can't even collect money. So, what they say and what they do is way two different things. That was the thing back in the day when they used to say, oh, we're going to change perpetual tourism. I used to get in big fights with immigration lawyers. They go, no, they're going to change. You're going to get your residency. Dude, you don't go to the border, obviously. I see what's going on. They never changed it the 20 years.
I think it's a ploy to get people to do residency, to fall into one of the four popular categories. But I think the problem with all this perpetual tourism, I think it's what we're getting now. They're a lot older, and that's going to put a damper on the health system.
Yeah, which you're already seeing because you're involved in that. And again, let's go back to a ploy. A ploy, if it has no teeth, isn't it's a bluff. It's like a total bluff. Here's what we're going to do. And then it's going to take two people to go, yeah, they didn't do that. I did this thing. They didn't care nothing.
But Mike, Costa Rica has a tendency that it might work today, but may not work tomorrow.
Well, that has always caused me the greatest amount of anxiety when I used to be a perpetual tourist. Trust me, and they're like that on everything. You think you're, let's say, getting away with something, or they're not checking on something, you're not doing something, and you get on your little blog or you make your little video and go, no, that's not true. It's like this. Yeah, and you got 7 people writing, you go, no, bullshit. That's the thing. I say this a million times. There's nothing black and white in Costa Rica, except that there's nothing black and white in Costa Rica. Right?
No, it's.
What do you mean no?
No, you can have black and white. It's just if it happens or not in that particular section of the country.
Then it's not black and white.
No, it's gray.
I think you just made my point for me, but that's all right.
We got it.
Nothing is black and white, but nothing is black and white.
Right, it's gray. It's gray, Mike.
Right.
We have to accept it. You and I got to accept it. And it went over the head right now.
That's all right. I know you had a very, Johnny, just let's do a little shout out. Johnny's kind of getting, he's a little rough around the edges today. He's involved in the politics, man. He went to his first, what you tell him?
I went to my first press conference with the president of the Republic of Costa Rica. That was
yesterday.
Yeah. And you know what, Mike? It was a privilege to be there, to see it in action, to see democracy, to see what you call.
Did you say democracy? But okay, I'm not gonna keep going. He sounds like a politician.
Well, Mike, I call it what I see. I'm not going to judge one line or the other. I'm going to hear people out. But we saw it in person. But
I think to be there, I think that was being super exciting. And I know you were super excited. All the microphones and the hubbub and all the important political players and movers and shakers.
Everybody was there.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, everybody was there. You know what? The government, the executive branch again, because again, I'm with the legislative, the executive branch was all there. They were there answering questions about what you're saying about for the people, doing for the people. Now,
yeah, well, everybody says that.
Yeah, well,
that's why I think you better, if you want your breast augmented, you might want to get a hold of Johnny quick, because I think he's going into politics. I really believe he's been working on this for, as a kind of a hobbyish thing for the last couple years, but he keeps going deeper into it. And I think he's going to be some sort of maybe liaison to, I don't know, but I see it going somewhere for you.
Well, I hope that the efforts that we've been doing for the last almost 2 years, like you said, do go somewhere, because I think the expats, people in general, need a voice that has their best interest.
Well, knowledge of not just best interest, the knowledge of how the system works, how it truly works, how it works for you, how to navigate it. That's kind of important.
Yeah, I've been blessed enough to be an American and Tico to see both sides and have to. Tico, Mike, Tico told me I need to mesh my American mentality with the Tico and make it gallo pinto. Take both and make to
well, you
try.
kind of do.
Yeah, I try, but
you're a little bit more United States than you are Tico. In my mind, you are. Now, I'm glad you're going to be political because I just can't wait to have a friend that I can grease his palms with some money and get things done.
No, Mike.
I'm just going to call you up. Hey, man, I got a problem.
Well, it's I don't know, but Mike, Perpetual tours. Okay, do you think that going straight into let's enforce this is the right thing?
I would say yes. I would say the first thing to do, I'm going to take my answer back. The first thing to do is implement the laws you already have, or like if you're going to do the money thing, do it.
Enforce it.
Enforce it. So start there. It's kind of like in the States with gun laws. We have gun laws. They're good gun laws, but they're just not enforced all the time. So it looks like it's willy-nilly. If they're going to do the fines, great, do them. And once you do it, people are going to go, they're doing it. They're fining. I was at the border. I had to put, whatever it is, start there, see if that does any sort of correction, and then go to the next step. You always want to do the least restrictive consequence that works. That's why you can't just go, no more 180. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. You want to take it. It's like behavior with kids. You don't cut if they take a piece of candy from the store, you could cut off their hand and they probably wouldn't do it again. But that's a little too much of a consequence for that. So what do? You do the least restrictive. You do some teaching. Hey, we don't steal. You got to go apologize. Your consequences, you got to, you're grounded for 3 days or whatever the hell it is. You start with the least. And if that works, nice. So that's why I would probably start with the, implement what you have now or what you're getting ready to do, maybe up the fines or whatever they're doing.
I think as Americans, Mike, we have to think that we're the privilege that you have in Costa Rica of how you're treated, how things are actually.
Wait a minute, my privilege? What's my
it's
privilege?
A privilege.
Oh, it's a privilege to live here.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you meant I get some.
You get other things too.
Are you going to get into white privilege?
No, I'm not going to get into white
privilege. Be careful,
privilege.
man. I'll be ready, man. I'll be ready. Don't get me started. I knew this was going to go south. I was ready. It's going south.
Mike, you came here. You got to be in this beautiful country.
I thank God. I am grateful, man. This place. Okay, let's get serious. I've been here 20 years. I would never go back to the States. I love what this country is, what it represents.
Even with the bureaucracy, Mike?
Well, that's everywhere. Well, because there's always complaints on a thing, but I don't feel like it's I'm not going to step in and go, you should be doing this, this, and this. We're gringos. To me, no matter how long I've lived here, I'm a guest. I don't care if I have my residency. I have my residency. Technically, I have a voice, kind of.
Yes.
But I would never do it like that because
you have a voice, but you can't vote.
Well,
are you gonna do citizenship?
Yeah, probably. Because at 65, you don't got to take the written test.
You wait till 65?
I am 65, so I could get my citizenship now. Damn it! So least restrictive. Well, where do you think it's going to go? Or you think it's going to pass? You think they're going to, or do you think is it lip service? Do you think it's going to?
There's a lot of contention with the lawmakers that are pissed because the U.S. recently imposed some restrictions on them taking their visas from them being able to even go to the U.S. I think there's a political thing going on between the countries, at least on the legislative side.
Oh, so okay, I'm sorry, I skirted over that. So you think this whole thing is because of Trump's new policies? Is that all this? Because the way it's presented in what I've been reading is locals or Tico saying it, or is that just a smokescreen?
I think a lot of things has been over. Look, I believe the U.S. has the right to protect its borders and to not allow.
Sounds like a politician, doesn't he?
As a soldier, I took that oath to protect the U.S. from enemies, foreign and domestic. Now, if the law is that you have to go in a certain way, because normally it takes 14 years to get into the U.S. legally. Here in Costa Rica, you can get in a lot sooner than that.
Well, there's a reason for that. Come on, man. This is a developing country. The United States is, for all its problems, people still want to go there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a reason for that. I don't want to get into all that, but I want to go back. You didn't really answer. So is this all because of that? Because I actually didn't know that. I thought it was more for people were starting to get bitchy about the gringos, buying up shit or whatever.
Well, it's enough that the Congress is, the legislative branch is doing these laws, and there's ramifications on what that looks like. But you also have to mesh it in with the politics between the U.S. and China. There's things that are happening there that I'm not privy to.
Well, we're not privy to everything, and actually, we're not privy to the backroom dealings either.
Yeah,
we don't even really know what they're really doing.
We're a speck in the world, okay?
Barely.
But we hope that people make the decisions for the people, which sometimes.
So the people in the government or the legislative branch that doesn't want, let's say, to do this 180 thing. Let's say they're like, why are we doing? What is their argument?
They're a minority.
Okay, so
they're a minority because right now inside the legislative branch, they're a minority on anything that the executive branch wants to do or propose. They veto it. They don't let it go through. He hasn't had anything to go through.
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry.
The legislative branch, anything that the executive branch brings up as a new law, unless it affects them, minor effects, they're vetoing it. There's a big fight between these two branches. They're not letting things happen.
Wow, that sounds like another country I know.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that even the United States with Trump doing all the stuff he's doing, a lot of that stuff is, horn blowing too. I mean, I think a lot of that, Costa Rica's got a pretty good relationship with the United States, and they are not Venezuela. They are not, you know what I mean? It's like I think that they got caught in a basket, we're just going to do this to the, Central America, Latin American countries. But I think when it comes down to it, it'll be like, Costa Rica, this doesn't apply to you. You're okay. You know what I mean? No, I'm serious. Well, I mean, right now, I just think, there's a lot of bluster and, there's a lot, but, things will start settling. I don't know. Again, there's no way to know, really.
You don't know whether there's a huge Chinese influence, that bringing in stuff. They have a huge American influence. The whole thing, there's always something, Mike. It's, you can't, one side or the other says this, the other side says that, and then Costa Ricans are right in the middle, but, it's still 5 million people.
The problem is Costa Rica has no say. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like they have to go with the winds of China and the United States. But that's a whole nother video.
That's another video.
But, I would love to start. I know most of you guys haven't made it this far, but we're on my balcony. This is the first video from my apartment in Ciudad Quesada. I actually want to invite people, anybody that finds himself in this town that lives in Costa Rica, that ever wants to sit up here and shoot the shit on a subject that they want to talk about.
Is this that your pod?
Well, not a podcast. I mean, just like this. Like if somebody said, "Hey, we're going to be in Ciudad Quesada. We live in, we're up in Playa Coco, but we're going to be down in the Ciudad Quesada area. And hey, we'd like to take you up on video."
Oh, so Mike, you're trying to gentrify the Ciudad Quesada, bringing them over here.
Actually, somebody said that to me. I thought that was funny. Anyway, guys, I feel like we didn't learn anything today.
No, we didn't do nothing.
But I just thought we were just trying to throw things out for maybe you to think about. Nobody really knows the answer, and you can't really trust the media for really
Now you
reporting
can't
what's
trust.
really going
Yeah,
on.
even Johnny now he does politics. Right?
Yeah, he's in politics, so we don't even know.
He's telling the truth.
But I would love, I have some of the best viewers ever. I mean, you guys give great feedback. You guys have great takes on stuff, and I would love to hear your take. Where did we get it right? Where did we get it wrong? Maybe what did we forget? What didn't we do? Whatever. Because this, it's a big subject, man, and there's a lot, again, that we don't know. If we knew more stuff, we could probably do some better.
You know what?
Discussion.
We're going to get another one I think we should need to do another one after I ask the question. Somebody
just today, just about a half hour before you got here, a little notification came up and said, what's going on with that 180 days? You going to make a video about it? I said,
today?
Yeah. A half hour before you came. It just hit a little notification. I said, yes, today. So anyway, Johnny, thanks, man. Thanks,
all right,
man.
brother.
I want to hear from you, man. Okay, I'm Michael Allen, travelcostarica.com. Thinking about living or moving anywhere, always do your homework and research and visit Costa Rica. You should start with my videos that are popping up right there, and subscribe probably around right there. Bye.
Peace.